Chapter 20. The Digital Age and the Future of the Letter, 2000 to Present. We have traveled a long road together. We began on the colonial post roads with Benjamin Franklin. We rode the thundering hooves of the Pony Express. We sat in the rattling railway cars, flew through the night in canvas biplanes, and drove through the suburbs in white aluminum trucks. Now we arrive at the present moment. Chapter 20 is the story of the greatest transformation in the history of communication. It is the story of how the physical world collided with the digital world. It is a story of survival, adaptation, and the surprising, stubborn persistence of paper. The year is 2000. The millennium has turned. In millions of American homes, a new sound is heard. It is a screech, a static hiss, and a chime. Ding, the sound of the dial-up modem. And then a digitized voice speaks 3 words that would change the Postal Service forever. You've got mail. But you didn't have to walk to the curb to get it. It was glowing on a screen. At the turn of the century, futurists predicted the death of the post office. They looked at the rise of email and said, who will need a stamp in 10 years? Who will wait 3 days for a letter when they can send a message in 3 seconds? They called it electronic diversion. And for a while, it looked like they were right. First, the personal letters vanished. People stopped writing, "How are you?" on stationery. They sent emails. Then they sent text messages. Then the business mail began to vanish. The bank statement went paperless. The electric bill was paid online. The check in the mail was replaced by the direct deposit. The first-class letter, the bread and butter of the Postal Service, the high-margin item that paid for the trucks and the buildings, began a free fall. From a peak in 2001, mail volume dropped by billions of pieces a year. The river of mail that we described in earlier chapters was drying up. The post office was facing an existential crisis. It was a network built for envelopes in a world that had moved to packets of data. The doom spiral was the phrase used in the news. But then something unexpected happened. The internet did not just kill the letter, it gave birth to the package. The same computer that allowed you to pay your bills online also allowed you to buy things: books from Amazon, shoes from Zappos, handmade pottery from Etsy, electronics from eBay. These things could not be emailed. A pair of sneakers cannot travel through a fiber optic cable. They must be moved across the physical earth. And so the post office pivoted. The letter carrier became the parcel carrier. Let us step onto the porch of a modern American home in 2015. The carrier pulls up in the LLV. The sound of the engine is the same as it was in 1987. But the carrier's satchel is different. It is not just full of magazines and envelopes. The carrier is holding a device that looks like a smartphone encased in rugged plastic. It is the MDD, Mobile Delivery Device. The carrier picks up a brown cardboard box with a smile-shaped arrow on the side. He points the laser, beep, delivered to front porch. At that exact second, inside the house, a phone buzzes. The customer gets a notification. Your package has arrived. The loop is closed. The physical and the digital are synchronized. This shift changed the physics of the job. In the 1990s, a carrier might deliver 2,000 letters and 10 packages a day. In the 2020s, a carrier might deliver 500 letters and 150 packages a day. Letters are light, packages are heavy. Letters are uniform, packages are chaotic. Some are tubes, some are boxes, some are bags of dog food weighing 40 pounds. The job became more physically demanding. The Tetris game of loading the truck became harder. Sundays, once a day of rest, became Sunday Amazon days, with trucks rolling out just to deliver the weekend shopping. But the Postal Service had a secret weapon in the e-commerce wars: the last mile.
FedEx and UPS operate on a hub-and-spoke model. They drive to your house only if you have a package. If you don't, they don't come. But the USPS goes to every house every day. It is the universal service obligation. Because the mail carrier is going to 123 Maple Street anyway to deliver a flyer for pizza, they can deliver the pill bottle or the small package cheaper than anyone else. This created a strange symbiotic relationship. FedEx and UPS often fly the packages across the country, but then they hand them off to the post office for the final drive to the door. This is called parcel select. The post office became the legs for the entire internet economy. But the digital age brought more than just boxes. It brought a new way of seeing the mail. In 2017, the USPS introduced informed delivery. This is a marvel of modern imaging. Remember the OCR machines from Chapter 18, the ones that take a picture of every envelope to read the address? The post office realized, we already have the pictures. Why don't we show them to the customer? Now, every morning at 8 a.m., millions of Americans check their email. They see a grayscale scan of the letters that will arrive in their mailbox later that afternoon. It is a teaser trailer for the mail. It builds anticipation. It proves that the digital and the physical can coexist. Then came the year the world stopped, 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic. The streets emptied, the shops closed, the offices went dark. But the white trucks kept moving. During those frightening months, the Postal Service became a lifeline. It delivered the masks, it delivered the test kits, it delivered the prescriptions to the elderly who were too afraid to go to the pharmacy. It delivered the stimulus checks, and in November 2020, it delivered democracy. The election of 2020 saw a massive surge in vote by mail. For millions of citizens, the ballot box was their own mailbox. The system was under immense pressure. There were political controversies, there were fears of delays, but on the ground, the workers, the clerks, the carriers, the mail handlers treated those ballots like sacred objects. They swept the floors of the plants to make sure not a single envelope was left behind. They proved that in a crisis, the old analog network of the post office was the most resilient infrastructure the nation had. But as we look at the present day, there is a fascinating paradox emerging. The rarer the letter becomes, the more valuable it becomes. In the sea of digital noise, the thousands of unread emails, the spam texts, the fleeting social media likes, a handwritten letter has become a luxury object. It has become a premium experience. If you open your mailbox today and you find a white envelope with a handwritten address, your heart skips a beat. You know it is not a bill. You know it is not an ad. You know that someone took the time. They found a pen. They found paper. They sat down. They thought about you. They bought a stamp. They walked to a box. In the era of instant communication, this inefficiency is the ultimate sign of love. There is a resurgence of analog culture. Sales of fountain pens are up. Sales of vinyl records are up. And young people, Gen Z and millennials, are discovering the joy of the postcard and the pen pal. They are using the mail not for utility, but for connection. Let us imagine a scene from today, somewhere in a coffee shop in Portland or Brooklyn. A young person is sitting at a table. The laptop is closed. They have a pad of high-quality paper. They have a bottle of ink. They are writing a letter to a friend in another city. They are describing their day. They are drawing a little sketch in the margin. They are pressing a dried flower into the fold. They seal the envelope. They affix a stamp, perhaps a forever stamp featuring a painting by Van Gogh or a photograph of the Hubble Space Telescope. They walk to the blue collection box on the corner. When they drop the letter in, the metal flap makes the same clank it made in 1950. The sound echoes. That letter will enter the stream. It will be scanned by robots. It will be flown on a jet. It will be sorted by a barcode. It will be carried by a weary carrier in a new electric truck. But when it arrives, it will be magic. The future. What does the future hold for the eternal messenger? The fleet is changing. The next generation delivery vehicle, the NGDV, is rolling out. It is tall, strange-looking, and electric. It is quiet. It hums rather than rattles. The sorting centers are becoming more automated. Artificial intelligence is optimizing the routes. Drones are being tested. There may come a day when a drone launches from the roof of the mail truck to drop a package at a farmhouse while the carrier delivers to the neighbors. But the core of the mission remains unchanged: the universal service obligation. It is the promise that no matter who you are, no matter how rich or poor, no matter if you live in a penthouse in Chicago or a cabin at the bottom of the Grand Canyon, yes, they still deliver there by mule.
the United States Postal Service will find you. It is the only entity that binds the entire nation together physically. As we conclude our history, let us take one last look at the carrier. It is late afternoon. The sun is setting, casting long shadows down the street. The carrier is walking back to the truck. The satchel is empty. The step counter says 20,000 steps. The neighborhood is quiet. The blue light of televisions flickers in the windows. The Wi-Fi signals are invisible webs crisscrossing the air. But the carrier knows the truth. We are biological creatures. We need things we can touch. We need medicine. We need clothes. We need words on paper that we can keep in a shoebox under the bed for 50 years. The carrier climbs into the truck. He turns the key. He drives away, leaving behind a trail of delivered promises. And tomorrow, he will come back, through rain, through snow, through heat, through gloom of night. The mail never stops.